welcome to TinyTableGames. Today will be episode 14, 5 Leagues from the Borderlands. As you may recall from the last episode, our group made its way back to Wheat Ridge after struggling a little bit, but it all worked out in the end as they got ambushed on their way down to Applewood. They bought some new gear that they couldn't get anywhere else because Applewood's a city/town and other places are not. And we haven't spent the adventure points to upgrade them at all because we're busy hunting down the bad guys. Anyway, we made it back to Wheat Ridge and discovered that we need to run 3 patrols in a row to complete a contract. And one we haven't tried before. I haven't done any patrols at all, actually, so this will be interesting. And then after that, we'll see about cleaning up some of the area. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, help the channel grow, and let's get to it. So here we are in Wheat Ridge, right up here. There is a dungeon, as it turns out, or a delve, as they call it in 5 Leagues terminology, in the same hex as Wheat Ridge, so that's interesting. We still need to take care of the Death Knight down here, and we've got the Ruin Within, aka the Thieves Guild camp here that I want to get rid of, and the unexplored monster lair over here. Hopefully nothing else crops up in this area. We've had some other unexplored stuff. We've tossed it all out here just to get rid of it. And then after all that, come over here and do the Faceless Kingdom hideout, which will be 2 of the 3 hideouts if we knock that one out, that we have to kill off to finish the campaign. You also have to get their influence down to 0, and right now they're all at a 4, I do believe. So we're doing pretty good on that front, and you do that by buying down their capabilities with adventure points after you fight them in a battle, like taking out their hideout. So that all said, here we are on Wheat Ridge. It's time to get the day started as we start day 1 of 3 patrols. So as always, we got our start of day 47. Let's see. Renowned Scholar. If you take a study campaign activity, you may add +2 to the roll. I don't know that I care, but we will see. On to step 2, which is pay for everybody. We will, of course, use our campaign activity to work in the town, so we don't have to actually pay for it because we still don't have a whole heck of a lot of gold because we have a large group of people. And our grand total in gold pieces right now is 2. So we literally can't afford to feed everybody if we don't work. For our second campaign activity, we're going to try and earn some bucks. Which again we'll have George do because he's good at doing hard work. So a 6+ earns us 2 gold pieces. Anything else, we earn 1 gold piece. Hey, good job, George. Not worried about trying to discover a hidden location just this time. We have 4 adventure points. I don't know, maybe we could try. If we did, we could learn where the 3rd hideout is. Huh. Is that worth knowing yet? It might be. At least then we'd know, but we already had a plan for taking out the other one, so maybe we'll just wait on that for now and just keep racking up the adventure points. Okay, so we're going to ride patrol around Wheat Ridge. We have to do this 3 times to fill our contract. You mount a quick patrol around the area looking for troublemakers and signs of banditry. When undertaking a patrol for the town watch, you are on the lookout for anything you might run into along the way. Patrols are often less risk and can be a good option for a weaker party or a party that is recovering from injuries. Oh, that's interesting. Roll a D100 on the patrol encounter table below to see what you find. Well, this may be slightly more friendly than I thought, unless we're killed by a rogue shrubbery or something. So, the patrol. Ought to. A traveler. Roll up a traveler encounter. Interesting. All right, we've been here before. Let's see if we get anybody interesting. Man, a lot of oughts. Ought 9 in this case. An entertainer. A generic entertainer because it has an asterisk. The entertainer is, there we go. 33 is sociable, so we roll on the sociable entertainer subtable, which is a 14. I am rolling low. Let's see. A brief chat. So absolutely nothing happens. Cool. So we ride a patrol and found an entertainer. So the news at the end of the day, after a really relaxing day around Wheat Ridge, is again an +8. Man, continuing to roll crazy low. Nothing of interest happens. Well, that's a pretty good descriptor for how day 1 of the patrol went. All right, well, we'll move right on to day 2. So the wake up check, 22 in town, because we're still in Wheat Ridge. That is, you do not have to pay upkeep this campaign turn. Woohoo! So that gives us a second action. We're going to use both of them to earn gold again. George can only do it once, so somebody else has to do it the other time. So it'll be a 6 for George and an 8 for the other person. So George is first. George does it, so that's 2 gold. And the other person, 8. All right, good work. We pull in 4 gold this campaign turn. Again, doubling our net worth all the way up to 8 gold. All right, Ride and Patrol, day 2. Insert your favorite 70s cop music here. 57. 57 is Unsavory Types, a meeting engagement battle using the roadside enemies table. They will use the unknown enemy rule in the encounter. Interesting. So that's like 3 different tables all at once. So let's find out who we're fighting on the roadside enemy table. We had pretty good luck with one of these rolls and pretty bad luck another time. 61. And that is on the second page. 61 is Organized Robbers. Crime does pay a little. If you hold the field, you gain 1 gold mark in petty coin. These guys are not spectacular. +1 combat value, 3 toughness, 1 armor. They have 2 bows and no penetration bonuses to speak of. They can move 5 inches, +2, so they're pretty speedy. Let's see how many of them we're fighting. It's a +3. Wow, so 5. That is not going to be hard. Probably. So the only other modifications to that are in determining the enemy numbers. Because we have 7 people in our warband now, that adds 1 extra enemy. So that brings it up to a total of 6 organized bandits. But it's said to use the unknown enemy. When facing an unknown enemy, you might be in for an easier or tougher fight than you expected. Remove 3 figures from the enemy count and add 1 unknown enemy marker. And if you have ranged troops, you should remove ranged troops. Otherwise, everything should be the same. So from 6, we're down to 3, plus 1 unknown enemy, which we now refer to page 34. Let's see. Unknown enemy markers. In some battles, a marker must be placed to represent an approaching enemy group of unknown strength. Any token or marker you like can be used. Let's see. They move 5 inches per round. Will move towards the center point of a battlefield. Upon reaching the center, they will move in a random direction every round. The enemy group represented by the unknown enemy marker is spotted immediately the moment a warband figure is within the distance. If 6 inches if it's in heavy terrain, 9 inches otherwise. Roll a d6 and consult the table below to determine the number of foes encountered. The numbers are always melee troops. Okay, here's the setup for our scenario. We have our group of 8 adventurers sitting over here. We've got Wolf and Claws, and Vic Vicious the follower, and Bane in group 1 over here, kind of buying some new shrubberies and the little, I don't know, animal pen or whatever. And over here we've got Hopeful Hank, who's finally back. Actually, Hopeful Henry, but I'd call him Hank, I don't know why. Ivan, who's our lone mystic, a.k.a. spellcaster. Lucky, the follower, and George St. Clair, pretty much the leader. And then some miscellaneous terrain. We have a little watchtower thing set up because they are patrolling around the edge of Wheat Ridge. So you can only get up onto the watchtower via this ramp. And once you're up there, anything you shoot at, you have a +1 bonus to hit with. Same with if you're fighting off anybody coming up the ramp. I don't know if it really come into play, but it also blocks line of sight and seems kind of neat. Now, out here, we've got 1, 2, 3 organized bandits, and 1, we don't know what it is yet, marker of how many more bandits that's going to be. You might say to yourself, wow, we're 8 people in the warband now? I know, 4 heroes and 4 followers. I mean, we keep rescuing people. I don't know if there's a mechanic to fire them more than so much as just let them die. And it looks like 3 get to go in the early round because remember both George and Claus have an agility of 2 now, which means giving them a 2 on the die will still let them go early. Okay, and we are off. Let's see, Bane can move up to 4 inches. Everybody is currently obscured, who are the bad guys. And you have to be at least 9 inches, I believe it is, away from the, 9 inches away from the unknown marker before you can ID it. So she will move up 4. And then, is she going to sprint her other 2? Probably. I don't see a reason not to. And head for the thing I just knocked down, the tower. And that's all she can do. Next up is George. George, I believe, is a movement of 5 now. That is correct. And he can sprint 3, just like everybody else, so she should move 1 more inch. I always forget that. The bad guys sprint 2, the good guys sprint 3. What are you going to do? All right. So let's see. Since those guys don't have ranged weapons, it may be best to just sprint George forward and get him to the tower so he can ID things. So he can sprint up to 8 so he can run partway up this tower. That ramp's not holding quite as well as I would hope. There we go. And now it is the baddie's turn. Let's see. This guy down here is going to continue to stay in cover so that nobody else can really shoot at him. So if he moves 5 to here, and then moves 2 more, that pretty well, a couple of them from over here can get a shot, but it'll be on a 6, so that's not so terrible. Let's see. This guy is going to come racing out of the woods. It costs him an extra inch to get out of the terrain because he is not a squig. That leaves him kind of exposed, but both of these have already gone, so it puts him in a position to do something useful in the next round. This one over here on the side. His best bet is going to be to move forward up here. That way he still gets a +1 bonus for cover from that little fence up there. And finally, our unknown moves 5 inches and is going to step out of the rocks and move to there, which still leaves him out of line of sight until George or this other one is up in the tower, as it blocks line of sight around the base. Okay. That was really boring. On to the slow heroes phase. Let's see. We got Vic Vicious, who just has a sling and brass knuckles. But he can see bad guys to sling at now. So he will move... And his sling only goes 10 inches. And that guy's more than 10 inches away. And he can't see him from there. So I think he's going to circle around this way. 4, 5, 6, 7. And just get ready to do some knuckle dusting with that guy on the next turn. Wolf can move all of 2.5 inches now with his crossbow before he shoots. So he's going to step right in front of Claus and take a shot at this guy, who is clearly more than 6 inches away, but he is in the open, so that'll be hitting on a 5. He does not, but he does also not run out of ammunition, so could be worse. Claus, who should have gone in the initial round, but I forgot a lot about him, but that doesn't matter because, hey, it's him. We'll just step up also his 2 inches because he's still only moving 4 per round. And we'll take a shot at the same guy, also hitting on a 5+. And he also does not, but also does not run out of ammo. So apparently they at least brought more than one arrow apiece, which honestly is definitely a learning thing for them. Okay, next up, I guess will be Hopeful Henry, who is hopefully going to run right out in the middle of everything. With his war spear to back up George. That does put him in an obscured line of sight within 6 inches of that thing. No, he's not still. He's still out of sight. So one more round. That's not far enough around due to the base of that thing. Let's see. So Ivan, I guess he'll take 2 steps forward and take a shot at this guy, who is more than 6 inches away and is partially in cover, which makes it a 6 to hit. And he misses. And Lucky, last but not least, is using her bow, so she will move up 2 inches and take a shot at that same guy, also hitting on a 6. Nope. Hey, nobody ran out of arrows. Everybody brought more than one. That is such a victory for the team. Okay, initiative. Okay, this setup might seem a little odd. We've got Vic Vicious, Bane, and George St. Clair going in the early round. Why I chose to do that is, let's say this turns out to be one dude. Well, no big deal. We've got the whole back row there ready to fire. And they don't even have to move. They'll be able to shoot anything. And not that it'll be with a 5+, but still. If it turns out to be a 5 or a 6, I want these guys far enough back that they can still react. George will be up onto the tower so he can shoot down or attack down, and these two can shift around. Hopeful Henry has his war spear and a little bit of armor, which means he can counterattack, which gives him a slightly better than average chance than most. And Vic Vicious just needs to get stuck in early, because no matter what happens, this guy's going to engage him on this turn because he can move 5 inches. So, that said, let's get into it. Right away with Vic, he's going to move straight in. Vic has a combat ability of 0, being a follower. This guy has a combat ability of 1, because he's organized. So the dude has a +1 against him into the first round. And, well, Vic loses, so the bandit will be the aggressor in round 2. But the bandit loses. And going into round 3, Vic's well, and it's a tie. Well, and actually it's not a tie because the bandit still has a +1. So the bandit wins that one. Let's see. He has no penetration bonuses. Vic has 1 point of armor. So anything but a 1 gets past his armor. And Vic's toughness is a 3. So the toughness check is a 3. So he is wounded and stunned, but not out for the count yet. One thing of interesting note is Vic is within 9 inches and is unobscured from his ankle of that unknown enemy. So we take a moment to roll up what's going to happen with the unknown enemy, which is a D6, which shows us how many more dudes are going to show up. 2 more. Well, that is honestly not that bad. That could have been way, 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 way worse. Bane is up. So she's going to do her job and run 7 up here, if she needs to even run that far, to run up here and back up George and try to not knock him off that little railing. So I'll move back here. So her whole job is to be George's backup assistant. George can move up to half his movement and still use his weapon. And he moves 5, so that's 2.5 inches. So if he runs out to this edge, he can just Well, I'm not convinced he can hit this guy to the angle, but he can certainly shoot at this guy. And so he's going to. Is he within 6 inches? Not really. But he has a +1 because he's on the tower. So it would be a 5 to hit due to the range, but it's going to be a 4 because he's on the tower. So 4+, he misses. But he doesn't run out of ammo, so good for you, buddy. And that is it for the early phase. So now it's the monster phase. We'll start down here. The bandit, I should say, not really a monster, is at a +1, and Vic Vicious is already wounded. That is a 5 to 3. Armor check, anything but a 1. Yep, that's a 1, so it pings off his armor. But that makes him stunned, which makes the the bandit at a +2 for the second engagement, which he handily wins. Armor check, again a 1, pings off him again. So that pushes Vic back an inch, moves forward, back an inch, moves forward. And in the third exchange, still the aggressor, this bandit. He wins by 1 at 6 to 6. Too bad that wasn't a tie. Well, by 2 because of the bonuses. Anything but a 1 for armor. Finally, gets past his armor. For a shirtless guy wearing brass knuckles, apparently he's got armor in all the right spots, Vic Vicious does. And toughness check, pretty much anything but a 1 is going to take him out. And it does, since he was already wounded. So Vic goes down. Okay, next bandit, who can move 5, is going to come around here and move his other 2 coming up the road here, or up the ramp. Next baddie is going to use his 7 inches to pretty much do the same thing. Oh, although does he need to? Can he get there with 5 inches? He can. He's going to sprint right around the edge of this tower and engage Hopeful Henry. Hopeful Henry is not backed up by anybody and also has no real skills to speak of. So the bandit is at a +1 for this engagement, which is kind of an oversight on my part. So unfortunately for the bandit, it is a tie. So that concludes the combat. It pushes Hopeful Henry back 1 inch, and that's that. Which also pushes him out of range of the other guy getting to him to start a fight again, which is kind of interesting. So he will just run forward around the tower here to here and plot for his next victim and play right into the arrows. And the guy here on the far edge is going to take advantage of his continued cover and hop forward to here. On the next turn, he'll be able to close, but why risk it when you don't have to? Okay, so that brings us to the slow phase for the heroes. We will start with Claus, who is going to maybe take a step forward. How far away is this guy? He is more than 6 inches, so he will step up 1.5 inches, which puts him in at a 3+ to hit. And Claus will take a shot. Ranged weaponry in this game is a big deal. 3+, that hits. Guy's got 1 point of armor, so anything but a 1, that goes past. Toughness 4. Toughness 4? Yeah, toughness 4. So 5 or 6 takes him out, anything else wounds. 5 or 6. So I would like it noted for the record that Claus is packing at least 3 arrows today and actually took out a bad guy. These bad guys, by the way, being roadside villains, actually do have morale checks they'll have to make at the end of each round. So it may go quickly once they start to fold like that. Wolf will go next. Who is he going to? He can't cross through those. Those are impassable, so he'll squeeze up here with his 2 inches of movement that he can do and still shoot his crossbow. And shoot that guy in the back who's trying to run up the thing, since he still can't see this guy. He is 6 inches away. Cool. So 3+. Hits. Punches through the armor because it's a crossbow, and onto the wound check. He is wounded, but not out of action. So that guy has 1 wound. I'm not going to try and pivot him because he's on that ramp, and that is a little perilous. So we'll cut to Ivan. Ah, boy, that's a tough call. Do you have him shoot from there and risk not taking out that guy and hopeful Henry getting smashed? Or do you run forward and play support? So if he moves forward 4 inches, he's going to have to dash, because if he stops there, when hopeful Henry moves forward to engage, he won't be able to support. So all Ivan's going to do is run up and cheer on hopeful Henry here in a minute. But first, Lucky is going to hopefully live up to her name and take a shot with her bow. The guy is 6 inches away, so that'd be a 3+, but he's in partial cover, so that makes it a 4. And she will take her shot. First shot of the game for her. That's a hit. Anything but a 1 for the armor. No problem. And toughness check, 5 or 6 takes him out. Anything else wounds except 1. So he is wounded. So that's 2 wounded. And that just leaves hopeful Henry, who is going to step forward and engage this guy. He is now even Stevens with him, thanks to the support from Ivan. So first engagement is a 5 to a 4. So Henry wins that one. Armor penetration. Nope, doesn't get past it. But the bandit is stunned. That also pushes him back 1 inch. And Henry will follow up 1 inch, which puts him out of support range of Ivan. But fortunately, because the bandit is stunned, it's still a +1 for hopeful Henry. So they're still even Steven, even though he's on his own now. So 5 to 4. Whew, good thing he stunned him. Armor check. That was a lot of spinning, but yep, gets past the armor. And almost anything will wound. Or he could just take him out with a 5. Wow. Good job, Henry. Welcome back. All right, that's everybody. 2 bandits went down, so we make 2 morale check rolls. On a 1 or a 2, additional people scupper off. So 1 additional bandit runs away. I think it would most likely be this guy, who is halfway off the board anyway. He just runs off into the sunset and says, forget this. There are 7 members available at this point, so there we go. Okay, we're zooming in since the action's closer now. You'll notice the back row, the firing range, if you will, is all going first. Because I figured they might be able to take those out before anybody in the tower has to deal with it. So we'll start with Wolf, who will move his 2 inches forward past the shrubbery to make sure he's within easy shooting distance of that guy. So on a 3+, he hits, and he doesn't. All right, well, best laid plans. Next up is Claus, who hopefully can show him how it's done, and he will also take a shot at that guy right here. He will also hit on a 3+, and he actually does it. Claus brought at least 4 arrows with him today. Armor check, anything but a 1. Nope, that's a 1. It pinks off his armor. But it does stun him, so that's something. So we'll give him a -1 in combat. Not that it's going to matter when he's facing George. Next up is Lucky, who will take her shot at that guy behind the fence again before he charges her. Hitting on a 4+ because of the cover. Hits. Armor check. Gets past the armor, and this guy is already wounded, so anything but a 1 will take care of the problem. And there's the 1. All right, so he's stunned. That's important, because that gives him a -1 for what's about to happen, which is he's going to move his 5 inches and engage in combat with her right now. He's charged up there. Because he's stunned, they're even Stevens, so 0 to 0. And Lucky wins, so that makes her the aggressor for round 2. 5 to 6, that makes him the aggressor for round 3. And so that's a whole lot of nothing happening over there because she wins the 3rd one. So it's a real defensive fight and nothing else happens. Well, Ivan was going to shoot at this guy too, so no harm done yet. 3+ to hit him. Nope, he missed anyway. Thanks for not battering, Ivan. And lastly is Hopeful Henry, who still has his sling. So he will take a shot at the wounded guy on the hill. He hits on a 3+ also. And he does. He needs to roll a 3 or higher to get through the armor because his sling sucks at getting through armor. And he does. And for the wound, pretty much anything but a 1 because he's already wounded. And he does. Thank you, Hopeful Henry. Took him right out. She doesn't have a ranged weapon, so there's nothing she can do except smile and wave. George does. He can't move much while he's using it. It's 2.5 inches like everybody else. So he'll shuffle up here to the edge and take a shot down at the one accosting Lucky. Obviously, that's more than 6 inches. So he will be taking on a 5+, -1 for being in the watchtower, so 4+. And that's a hit. Past the armor, anything but a 1. Gets past the armor, but just barely. Anything but a 1 will kill him off because he's already wounded. And there you go. So that is that combat. And they finish that particular patrol. So let's go to the post-battle thing and rack up some points. Okay, so step 1 is the adventure points. They get exactly 1 adventure point for successfully completing their patrol, which is awesome. I mean, it'd be nice to get more, but hey. That brings us up to 5 adventure points and an opportunity to reduce threat levels. We can do it by performing an adventure milestone, which is where you spend adventure points, roll a d6. If you roll equal to or under the adventure points you just spent, you reduce the threat score by 1. So I think we will attempt to reduce the Ruin Within again, that are currently at a 3, and see if we can't get them down to a 2. You can do it more than once, might even try it twice, depending on how the first roll goes. So we will try 2 adventure points, and so on a 1 or a 2, we reduce the Ruin Within down to a threat level of 2. Nope, that's not it. Do we try again? Probably. So we'll burn the other 3 points. So 50-50 chance of bringing them down to a level 2 threat. Yeah, got it. Now I wish I would only spent 1 point, so then I could have done it again. All right, so that burns all our adventure points, but it brings the threat level of the group down to a 2, which is fantastic. 2 more points since their hideout's already destroyed, and they will be out of the campaign. All their heroes survived the battle, and they held the field / achieved the objective, so it's a +2 experience points to everybody. That brings George to a 28. Not enough to advance, but man, getting close. That brings Ivan to 23. From 21 to 23, that is enough to advance. He'll get his 4th advance finally. Claus goes from 19 to 21. And Wolf, who's been injured more than anybody, is up to 17. And on the Mystic Advancement table, we get a 53, which is casting increase or will increase. I think we'll give him a point of will, which can be useful for rerolls and things of that nature, since he was at 0 points of will. So that could be handy. Plus, his casting is already at a 3, so I feel like the +3 is pretty sufficient for most things. All right, now the inevitable, probably not going to work Flash of Insight table for our followers who survived the battle on the field. We'll start with Bane. 52, which I believe is select a skill if you don't already have one. Nope, starts at 56, so Bane continues to be disinterested in advancement. Hopeful Henry, also uninterested in advancement with the same roll of 52. Lucky, who has prodigiously avoided any insights, with a 72, which is gain a skill, except she already has one. Oh, actually, just plain gain a skill of your choice. Wow, interesting. So you can just pick anything. She should probably pick up the scouting skill, since only Wolf has that right now, so we will give her scouting. Over to the injury table for our wounded follower, Vicious Vic, or Vic Vicious. 95, he is just fine. Okay, onto the loot table. We get exactly one roll on the loot table for our successful patrol. That's a 24. A 24 is a weapon. Well, actually, that wouldn't be terrible at this point. Weapon roll. Something awesome. Nope, 31 is not going to be awesome. A 31 is, in fact, a bastard sword. Man, and I just bought one of those. All right, well, a bastard sword is, in fact, kind of awesome. So, I guess, yay. I feel a little buyer's remorse on just picking one up in town like yesterday. So I guess we'll give Wolf this bastard sword. So that brings us to the end of the day 2 on patrol around Wheat Ridge with a news information of 88, which is hopefully something good. A stranger is visiting, select a random settlement. If you visit there within 2 turns, make a traveler encounter. All right. That probably isn't going to happen because we're going to have to be here for at least one more turn. But the town will be, let's see, the 4 is Applewood. All right, so stranger in Applewood for 2 turns, which probably means it ain't going to happen. So we'll most likely just ignore that. Because we have one more round of patrols to do. And we have to do that next or we're going to run out of time. So, next day. In-town roll for day 3. 51. Let's see, 51 is gambling craze. If you take a gambling activity after rolling, you may choose to make a second roll. Apply both results. Not a chance. We're still trying to build up our funding again. All we're going to do is use one action to not have to pay everybody, since we're up to 8 people now that we're healthy. And for our second, we're going to try and earn some bucks, since we're still at 8 gold. So George is going to go out once again and do some hard work. And he does it, so we pick up 2 gold, which brings our group total up to 10. All right, time to ride patrol for the final time. Well, I mean, yeah, for today. Let's see how it goes out. That's a 74. And a 74 is all kinds of folk. Roll up a traveler encounter. If this encounter does not result in a battle, contract, or quest, set up a meeting engagement battle using roadside enemy tables. Huh. Okay, so traveler encounter. It's kind of a traveler encounter. If it doesn't result in a fight, we just make it a fight. I'm not sure how it would turn into a fight, but let's see. Traveler encounter. Whoops. 07 is a crafter. Yeah, that's not going to be a fight. I mean, come on. The crafter's mentality towards us is, in fact, friendly. Rolling on the friendly. Oh, they're just a friend. So we have a crafter friend. Roadside enemy table. Fighting 68, which is not on the page. The 68 is, again, Northern Wolves. So the squigs return. Let's see, how many of them? It'll be a +3 because we have an additional +1 because we're up to 8 people. So 9 squigs this time. And there we have it for this one. I'm going to have to pause it there as we get ready to fight Battle 3 of our 3rd day of patrol. This time it's going to be versus 9 squigs, aka Northern Wolves. That's going to be a lot harder than the previous round, which was just 5 of them, almost double the amount. A squig for every adventurer, +1. And other than that, things went pretty smoothly. Picked up a bastard sword, which is probably the best part. These patrols were not too bad, although I got some concerns about fighting 9 squigs, aka Northern Wolves. And yeah, we shall see. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Ray. This is TinyTableGames. I hope you really enjoyed the episode, and I hope you have a really great day. I'll see you next time.